Hi. I am having a really bad week, and bad month and everything, and I am very upset right now for a multitude of reasons. So instead of a normal video, I'm going to chew some people out. I'm going to go against my normal method of just saying things and not naming names. No, I'm naming names. This has got to stop. It's pissing me off. And yeah, and this is only the first video of a couple I need to make. So why am I mad? Well, there's this really interesting phenomenon that started shortly after Critical Role got popular. Every roughly 6 months, somebody makes a video talking about how either Critical Role, Matt Mercer specifically, or streamed games in general are ruining D&D. They're ruining, and there's this whole list of reasons why they're ruining D&D. And even if their focus isn't on Critical Role always gets brought into it because Critical Role is by far the most popular streamed D&D game in the world. So I want to, first of all, show that anyone that's thinking of making one of these videos, guess what? You're not original. This isn't a new idea. Someone says it literally every 6 months, and they're wrong every single time. The most recent one, again, I normally don't call out people, but this is actually the second time he's made the same video. Using different sources, obviously, but still having to point out how bad Critical Role is. And this time, he's actually said that Matt Mercer agrees with him, which is false. I'm talking about Cody from Taking 20. Cody, if you're watching this, you're a very talented person. You have a great channel. It's all D&D related. You make content for D&D, which is phenomenal. I have not tried any of your classes yet because I'm broke and very overwhelmed, but the reaction I've seen thus far, very positive. You seem like a very talented individual. Get off Critical Role. Congratulations. They're more successful than you, and they've been doing this for a shorter amount of time on the internet than you have. Wow. Damn. I'm so sorry that you don't have the success that you want or whatever it is that makes you focus on Critical Role, but just stop. It's annoying me, and you are hurting the game you are attempting to say you're helping. Why is that? Well, let me tell you. First, let's talk about how this isn't a new idea. The video he released today. The video itself is called Matt Mercer and Critical Role Effect in Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition. Now, that doesn't sound like he's saying anything about Matt agreeing with him, but when you look at the thumbnail for it, it says, why Matt Mercer Effect is bad for D&D, and Matt agrees. So this is a really interesting thing I see a lot of people do, where they will badmouth someone, but they'll put it in the thumbnail, not the title, so that that person can actually see that they're being badmouthed. I don't think Matt really minds that you're badmouthing him, because he's a fairly confident person in his own ability, and again, he is the most successful D&D show in the world. But it annoys me, and it annoys a lot of other people, so you need to stop. Second of all, in the description, he says, we all love Matt Mercer in Critical Role. Well, not really, because you keep fixating on how bad he is for the game. But okay, go ahead and attempt to placate people. But Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition is dealing with a new problem called the Matt Mercer Effect. And it's bad for D&D. And Matt Mercer himself agrees. No, he doesn't. And I'll show you guys that too. So that was released April 9th. It is the 11th today, so 2 days ago. Back in, let's see what the date is on this so I don't do it. Back in October 28th of 2018. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April. That's 6 months. Wow, I wish we could have predicted that every 6 months someone will complain about how bad Matt is for D&D. Oh, wait a minute. On your last video, which was titled, Is Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition Killing the Roleplay Game? And in the description, we have, what is causing the shift away from combat? Critical Role or D&D 5e? Always have to bring it back to Critical Role is bad. I actually made this really long post that nobody read because it's this wall of text, and I don't actually care. But in it, I actually went back and found, not all of them, because I didn't want to go back that far because it takes a lot of time, of the games, or of the videos of people complaining about how evil Critical Role is. So, the RPG Pundit wrote multiple articles in March of 2018 bashing Critical Role as not being real D&D. And he went as far as to say that the fans aren't real gamers. So that was in March of 2018. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Well, 7 months. So actually, he was a bit late. Then last October, Matt Colville, who was actually friends with the cast, and wrote the first run of the Vox Machina comic, went on a rant on Twitter that continued all the way to Reddit about how D&D isn't storytelling, specifically calling out Mercer for using the term cooperative storytelling. He was very, very upset that Mercer called it cooperative storytelling. What D&D is not storytelling. What Matt Colville does is storytelling. And he used words like denouement, and they're literary terms that, to be honest, I don't remember most of them. But and that one I even admitted there. It's a bit of a stretch, but it's still criticizing Critical Role and Matt Mercer. And it uses a lot of the no true Scotsman fallacy, which is a very common fallacy where what it is someone goes, well, that isn't D&D. Well, Matt Mercer does, and he plays D&D. That's not real D&D. It comes from the idea of someone saying, no Scotsman would ever, drink Guinness because it's an Irish beer. And they go, well, wait a minute, that guy's a Scotsman, and he's drinking no true Scotsman would drink. It's a version of moving the goalpost so that anytime somebody comes up with something that refutes your claim, you just change the rules so that no longer counts. It's a logical fallacy. So that was, again, that was October 2017. Then we go to May of 2017. So let's see, May, June, July, August, September, October. And there's only 5 months, so it varies a little bit, but roughly every 6 months. The DM's Craft releases a video about how Critical Role is bad for RPGs, using most of the same arguments you see over and over. Well, they're voice actors. That's not how real role-playing works, blah, 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 blah. Then March of 2017, Don Forged Coast released his video about how Critical Role is ruining gaming, and it was called Critical Role, Fantastic and Terrible for Tabletop Gaming, using the exact same arguments. Well, sets people's expectations too high. They're not real role players. The only thing I can't remember if that one mentioned it. The other argument constantly, well, it's scripted. That's why it's so good. Real games don't ever get like that. And you can actually go further back than that. I'm only going a couple years back because it's exhausting to look up all this stuff. So Cody and Matt Colville and the DM's Craft and Dawn Forged Coast, all you guys, congratulations. You have hashed up the same wrong argument over and over and over again. And all you are doing is dividing and splitting the player base. Because you're going to have people that really, really admire Matt and really, really like Critical Role, and you're telling them, well, that's not real. And if you think that's real, then you don't know what D&D is. You're insulting people that you should want to play with, that you should want to get into your hobby. Because guess what, guys? The more popular D&D becomes, the better Wizards of the Coast does. The more money Hasbro is willing to give Wizards of the Coast to make really cool stuff. So it really doesn't matter how people play the game. What matters is we want as many people playing this game as possible. Now, not only is that good for the game itself, it is good for society. There are psychological studies that have shown people that play RPGs are more empathetic. What does that mean? That means they're better able to look at other people and empathize with them, feel the same feelings that they are feeling. And that is how you remove arguments. That is how you show compassion. That is how the world gets better. So by sitting here and dividing people up and saying, well, this is real D&D and this isn't real D&D, or these people are bad for the game that I like, you are hurting the game and the world. Congratulations. So, now that we've seen that this argument goes on over and over and over again, literally every 6 months, Cody, you not only are dredging up this argument from a Reddit post from 3 months ago, also, you are taking your turn early. You already did one back in October. You need to let someone else make the same wrong arguments that you are making. Now, I do have to say, I have watched the entire video. The end of the video actually does mention some good stuff. So I don't think Cody is a horrible person or anything like that. I think he's fixated on Critical Role and Matt Mercer. And he needs to stop because he's not helping the people he's trying to help. He's just dividing the community. And that's how wars get started. Now, the claim that Matt Mercer agrees with him, he takes that from, there's a post that I'll actually link in the description on r/DM Academy, and it's this guy, Mr. Builder. And he's talking about how he's running this issue where he has fans of Critical Role playing in his game, expecting it to be just like Critical Role, which is always the argument that you hear. Well, all these people think I'm supposed to be like Matt, and I'm not like Matt, and it's not fair. No. I'll give you a tip from my own experience. I was in retail management for years. I cannot tell you how many employees came up to me. Well, my last manager did this, and this is how, and he ran a really good store. I don't understand why you don't do things like my last manager. Guess what? This happens literally everywhere. That's just how it works. If you're in a leadership position anywhere, they will compare you to previous leaders they had. That's how it works. You know how mature adult people deal with it? They go, congratulations, I'm glad he was a great manager. This is how I do things. And this is how we're going to do it because this is, this is my store. If you don't like the way that I do things, we can talk about it. We can see if there's a way for us to come to an arrangement where we both can get this to work. And if my particular style is just not for you, that's fine. There are many other places you can work. There are many other tables you can go to. I will not take it personally. I hope you don't take it personally. This is just how I run things because it works for me. That's how you deal with it. Not bitching and moaning and saying that, well, this person is destroying the thing. So Matt Mercer actually saw this and responded. And this is where Cody thinks that Matt is going, yes, I'm bad for D&D. No. He says, this specifically, seeing stuff like this kind of breaks my heart. Regardless, the fact of the matter is our style of play is just that, our style of play. Every table is different and should be. If they just want to copy what we do, that's not very creative, nor what makes the game magic at the table. Nowhere in there does he say, and the post goes on, I don't want to read his entire post, but I can tell you, nowhere in there does he say what I'm doing is bad for the game or is hurting other people. He's saying, it breaks my heart that you feel that way, and I've seen other people that feel this pressure to perform like me. It's never what I intended. Nor is it wrong. And Cody actually mentions something about that in the video. You don't compare yourself to professional bowlers if you bowl on weekends. Well, why aren't you comparing yourself to a professional DM? Things like that. And that's kind of what he says in that. But nowhere, anywhere, does Matt even remotely imply that what he is doing is bad. He's just sorry that that's what's happened. But nowhere has he said it's bad. Again, that's that idea of empathy. It doesn't mean, like, I empathize when people get punished for doing bad things. I wouldn't want to spend all this time in jail. I empathize with people in jail. Does that mean I don't think they should have gone to jail? No. They 100% should have. But I have the capacity in me to understand someone else's pain and say, you know what? I don't like the fact that you have to feel this pain. It doesn't mean that I endorse that whatever is causing that pain is bad. It just means I don't like people being in pain, whether physical, emotional, or whatever. And that's what I think Matt is saying there. However, I can guarantee you nowhere, anywhere has Matt ever said what he does is bad for the game. And implying that through the thumbnail, through the description, is just outright petty and wrong. And you need to stop. You have so much awesome content and really professionally made content, a lot better than the crap you're going to see on my channel. And yet you have to, again, every 6 months, you got to focus on how much you don't like this. Just stop. So the other claim I've made in this is that Critical Role is good for D&D. To be blunt, Critical Role is the best thing that has ever happened to D&D. Now, a lot of people go, oh, he's a Matt Mercer fanboy or Critical Role fanboy. No. I'm talking pure numbers. I have a degree in business management and marketing. I study economics. I did very well when I took my economics courses for my degree. As part of marketing is understanding economics. And I understand how businesses work. I used to run sales for multi-million-dollar stores. I turned around some of the busiest stores in the districts, in the busiest districts in the companies I worked for. I understand how business works. And guess what, folks? Whether you like Critical Role, hate Critical Role, love Matt Mercer, or hate Matt Mercer, or Sam, or Liam, or Marisha, or anyone on there, Critical Role has been the cause of more people getting into D&D than any other thing that Dungeons & Dragons or anyone else has done ever. There are more people playing D&D now than have ever played before. Look at the numbers, guys. Now, part of that is because the population is getting bigger. There will always be more and more people that could potentially get an item. That's why movies, there's never going to be a movie that is the highest grossing movie of all time forever. Because as more people get more money, they're going to be able to have more people see the show and pay higher ticket prices for it. That's just how it works. However, from the very early days, Critical Role encouraged people to go out and buy the books. They would give out books on a regular basis. So they were actively giving out the product that got people hooked. And tens of thousands of people tune in every Thursday night to watch it, where they constantly say, hey, go out and do this yourself. Find a group. Because of that, D&D is showing the greatest growth I believe it's ever seen. It might, between like first and second edition, there might have been a slightly better percentage-wise growth. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't seen the numbers. But right now, like the D&D core books were all on the Amazon bestseller list. They weren't before Critical Role started, but when Critical Role got popular, they started shooting up. Wizards of the Coast has actively said Critical Role has led to a huge surge in people playing D&D. That is a good thing. Whether they have misconceptions about what D&D is or not, you want more people playing the game. End of story. Now, if they think that all DMs are Matt Mercer, you have an opportunity. Because guess what, folks? I've been DMing, I think I'm going on 6 years now. I have not been DMing nearly as long as Matt, who's got, I think, 14 years on me. Or a lot of these other guys. However, I have been doing D&D things, whether it's D&D video games or whatever, since I was like 4. I'm very familiar with it. And one thing I've found in these 6 years I've been doing D&D, there are a lot of different play styles, and everybody has their favorite. And I will guarantee you, the people that only play their favorites, their favorite style of game, will be blown away the first time they play something that they've never tried before. And it'll be the coolest thing they've ever done. They may never play that again and just go back to what feels good and feels comfortable. But showing them a different way to play and a different experience, I don't think I've ever had a negative experience. And as far as my DMing experience, I was a local coordinator for the D&D Adventure League. I was a regular at a bunch of conventions. I would get free tickets, free hotel rooms, and free games and stuff like that at quite a few D&D conventions because of just how involved I was with D&D, specifically D&D 5th edition. Combine that with the fact that I used to run all the D&D games. I organized all the D&D games. We did, I think the last time I did it, we had 75 plus tables of D&D over the weekend for a convention. And I live in Wisconsin, where D&D was born. We've got tons of D&D conventions. So yes, I do know what I'm talking about because I have tons and tons and tons of experience playing with just tons of different people. I have played with people that played at Gygax's table. I've met his son. He's a nice guy. I know what I'm talking about. And I cannot tell you how many people came to my table going, well, this is the way I like to play. And go, oh, okay. That's not really how I run it. And I'll try to put some stuff in so that you can still have fun. But give this a try and let's see. And every single time it's like, that was cool. I've never done it that way before. Well, yeah. And some of them are like, okay, it was a good experience. I'm going to try something else. So why do I keep saying this? If someone comes to your table thinking that Matt Mercer is all DMs and that they all have to speak in the same accents as the show, show them a new way. Don't bitch about Matt. Don't bitch about Critical Role and how it's destroying D&D and anything like. No, show them the way you like to. Don't be condescending. Don't tell them that they're doing things wrong. Don't chastise them for having expectations that no one can live up to. I'm going to give you guys a secret here. Matt Mercer is not that amazing a DM. Is he great? Yeah. I would give my left leg to play the Matt Mercer table because he is phenomenally talented. However, the things that he does are not incredibly difficult to do from a skill standpoint. He puts the time in to create really good situations, and he has spent a large portion of his life learning his craft. Now, being an actor, there's so much more stuff that he knows being a professional actor than he brings to the table. The stuff that he brings to the table is not hard to learn. Learning different accents, not difficult. Some people have an easier time than others, but it's not that hard. Learning how to create compelling backstories and things like that for all your NPC, again, not hard, just takes time. Making all those cool models and miniatures and all that stuff, again, none of it is incredibly difficult to do, just takes time. And the Dwarven Forge stuff is kind of expensive. So that takes a little bit of money. But you can actually make your own terrain for a shit ton less. That's just a lot harder. So all the stuff he does, again, Matt is amazing. I don't want to say that he's not a great DM. What I'm saying is all the stuff that you guys think is just so unattainable from him isn't. It just takes work and learning to use the tools that you have. I have a stutter. So I can't do the things that if you watch my videos from like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm a completely different person. I used to study accents. I could do about a dozen at the drop of a hat. Now I can barely speak in my own voice. I am allowed to be angry that I can't physically do what Matt does. And that still hasn't stopped me from running games and creating characters that my players love and that the audience loves. And I stream all my games. And I never once have had one of my players go, you know, you're really not living up to what I thought this would be. I helped organize Critters and Team Human charity events where we streamed 48 hours of D&D. A lot of people that played in those charity events never played D&D ever. They had no idea what how to do it, and so many of them continued their games afterwards. Half the DMs had never done it before, and they had an absolute blast. More people playing D&D is always good. End of story. So to wrap this up, because this is going really long, this is normally I would say, hey, like the video, comment, all that stuff, subscribe to the channel because it makes the video go out better. I'm not going to do that because I don't want my channel to gain from this. That's not the point of this video. What I would like you to do, share this. Share this video. Don't like it because that helps me. Don't subscribe to the channel because that helps me. Comment if you have something to say. But I'm not going to ask you to comment just to help my channel. The views are going to help my channel regardless. But I want this message out there. If you see people bashing Critical Role or just bashing a style of D&D they don't like or a system they don't like or anything like that, share this video with them. Share this as many places as you can. We need to get this out there. This idea that Critical Role is bad for D&D is wrong and it's boring. Every 6 months it comes up. Anyway, that's all. That's all for this video. Like I said, please share this everywhere. I don't care if you, whatever it. I don't care if the views get back to me. Whatever. This is not about making my channel better. This is about getting all these people who keep shitting on a massive portion of the role-playing community because they're upset about one guy who does something really, really well and has helped their community more than just about anyone else other than Wizards of the Coast and TSR way back when, and Gary Gygax when he wrote it. Stop this divisive stuff. Stop making videos about this. I realize it's kind of hypocritical. Share this as much as you can everywhere, and let's get past this idea that popular things are bad. They're not. If you want to play a game like what happens on Critical Role, congratulations. You got your work cut out for you, because you need to find some people that are willing to put in the effort. If you want to play D&D, go for it. And if you're a DM and you get people complaining that it's not like Matt's, don't chastise them. Don't yell at them. Don't take it personally. Go, he plays that way. This is the way I play. And I think it's a lot of fun. And I think if you give it a try, you'll have a lot of fun too. So let's try something new together. All right? That's all for me. I'll see you next time. All right? Bye-bye.